Hey guys, what's up? In this video I want to show you how to install Django REST framework. In order to be able to understand what's going on in this video, you have to have a working Django website. And in this particular website, I just have one model that I'm going to be turning into a RESTful service, which is this zip model. And the zip model contains a bunch of objects here. Like each zip code that you can click on will have the city, if there is one, a county, a state, and the zip code. So I want to be able to turn all that information over to a RESTful API. And in case you don't know what a RESTful service is, it's a software architecture style, which just consists of being able to transfer data back and forth through the HTTP protocol, which is the same thing that the web operates on. And it's a lot lighter weight than something like XML or some sort of SOAP messages being sent back and forth. So it's kind of the modern way of just sending data. Typically that data is represented as JSON data, which is similar to XML, but it doesn't have as much weight. So it's easier to transfer across the wire. So that being said, Django REST Framework is an awesome project that has made creating RESTful APIs the easiest it could possibly be for the Django project. The only other alternative really that has a lot of weight behind it is probably Django Tasty Pie, but REST Framework is now becoming like almost the de facto standard of RESTful services with Django, and seems to be just getting better with time and more adding more and more features when it comes to like throttling, authentication, authorization, and things like that. So let's go ahead and jump forward here. The first thing we need to do is I'm assuming you set up your Django site, and hopefully it's inside of a virtual environment. My particular website is going to be located under my home, and then wish I could type. I have everything in my web apps here, so I have the thing I'm going to be working with is this project called Franchise. So in order to be able to activate your virtual environment, you need to go into the virtual environment directory, which I really can't type tonight. And then I go into bin and you just say source activate. And now if you're inside your virtual environment, you should see inside parentheses whatever your environment name is that you set up. So now that I've done that, I can go ahead and install Django REST Framework. Now you don't need to have a virtual environment. Hopefully you guys know what that is, but it's an awesome project that allows you to self-contain all your projects and modules, or all your Python modules and things into a specific environment, so that way you don't have modules competing with each other, or projects relying on the same modules that may have clashes with different versions and things. So this allows you to make sure that you encapsulate your project into its own special directory with its own libraries. So now in order to install this thing, we need to install it with pip. So we're going to say pip install Django, and it's all one word, REST framework. Now after that's installed, we need to go ahead and add it to our installed directories here. So just go ahead and say REST framework inside our installed apps on our settings file. Next, we'll want to go to our URLs of the main project, and we're going to paste in these this API so that we can have the good-looking API enabled for us to make it easier to manage our RESTful service. Now just for some default security out of the box, we're going to go ahead and add this to our settings py file, which is inside the Django REST Framework documentation. And this will just set the permissions so that we can make the requests and everything. It's going to set it to read only. So now we need to go to our project where we plan on making the RESTful service. So I had said before it's in the zip project, so I want to create a file which is called Serializers. Alright, it's called Serializers, and we need to go ahead and import a few things here. So up at the top we're going to say from REST framework import serializers. Okay, and then let's see. Now we need to import the zip object as well. So let me take a moment here just to explain my database structure. So the zip code here consists of a zip code, which is a primary key field, which is just text key field right here. And then you have the state, county, and city. And these are all foreign key relationships to their own tables to keep this data clean. So we have a state table, a county table, a city, and zip. So in order for our serializers to be able to use that, we actually need to import all of that stuff. So we're going to say from models, import city, county, state, and zip. So we're going to be using all of those. So first things first, let's go ahead and create our first class here, which we're going to call our city serializer, and it's going to import serializers dot model serializer. And we're going to create a class meta, and then we assign it the model that we need this thing to use. So this thing's going to be model, and we're going to use city. And then down here, we're actually going to give the fields that we need to serialize. And what this thing is doing is, so we need the ID, and then we need the name. And if you look at the model for city down here, you can see that there's just a name category. ID is added by default to any table. So we do want the ID just in case we need to reference the ID associated with that city name. But what this does, this is a shorthand way of being able to say, hey, Django REST Framework, here's the model, which is city, that you need to turn, and here are the fields that you need to actually serialize for me. So the serialization, if ID happens to be an integer, name happens to be a string, but it could be like a date time object, and REST Framework will actually take care of the responsibility of serializing that down into something that we can easily parse with with JSON and JavaScript and stuff. So it's a lot of headache, especially when you start having a lot of foreign key or many-to-many relationships. Django REST Framework makes all that stuff very easy. So hopefully you guys will see that. And really, to learn that the hard way, you have to try to just make your own RESTful service and serialize all this stuff yourself and see what kind of savings this thing does. You don't have to do it the hard way, but that's a good way of recognizing some of the good that this framework does for you. All right, so the next thing we want to do is our county serializer. And once again, serializers dot model serializer. And it's going to be class meta model equals county. And then we're going to give it the field equals, this is very similar as well, ID and name. Okay, and then the last one is state. So we're going to say class state serializer. This is very similar to Django models. That's why I keep typing models. This looks very familiar to how you would do that. Okay, class meta model is going to be state, and then field is ID. This is going to have a name, and then it's also going to have a state, a BBR, so state abbreviation, and this needs to say equals. Okay, so there it is. We have 3 serializers here: city, county, state. Final serializer needs to be the model, or I'm sorry, the zip, which actually combines the zip field plus these 3 foreign key relationships. So let's go ahead and look at that now. So we're going to look at zip serializers, serializers dot model serializer, and there's going to be class meta model is going to be a zip model, and then the field is going to be a little bit different. So the field, just like we described before, is going to have the fields that are there. So we're going to have ID, we're going to have zip code, which is the primary key. Then we're going to have the 3 foreign key relationships that you saw there. So we have city, county, and state. Now, these city, county, and state are foreign key relationships to another table. So in order for that to be able to work, we need to add something to this serializer above our class, which we're going to define with whatever name that we gave down here. So city is going to be equal to the city serializer. So city serializer, and just simply needs to do that. And then county is going to be equal to county serializer. State equals state serializer. So these here are like basically saying, hey, this field, which is right here, in order to serialize this, you need to use the city serializer, and it will then go up here and serialize the ID and the name of it. Because remember, this is just a text area assigned to the table. This is a foreign key relationship, which is another table, another table, another table, not another table, not another table. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and look at the URLs for our project. In my particular case, I don't even have a URLs file yet, so I'll go ahead and create that now. So in the URLs, what we need to do is, you always need to look at this. We're going to say from Django. You probably already have this in your file, django.config.urls, import patterns, include URL. And then we're going to say from REST framework .url patterns, import format suffix patterns. Now you probably don't have this. You definitely need to add it. And then we're going to say from zip import views, because we're going to be referencing the views here. So let's go ahead and create our URL patterns equals patterns. And then we define our URL. Actually, I'll move that like right here. So I'm going to have, let's go ahead and define the pattern. I want to have it to be API. We'll go, and then we just say views dot zip, and we'll just call it list dot as view. Okay, that should work. And we're going to copy this line. And then right here we need to go ahead and add the query string. So if we want to add query by a specific view based on the primary key, we'll go ahead and do that now. And that's what this is. We're building a regular expression that will capture whatever the query string argument is, and then use that to query the database to try to find a matching entry in the database. And then we're going to call this zip detail as view. Alright, so that should be good. Now we need to use the format suffix pattern that we imported up there. And what this does, it allows you to actually specify whatever format you want the data to be in. So if I'm looking at API/1, so zip API/1, then I could say 1.json or 1.xml or whatever, and it will automatically convert it into the right data for us. And it's going to say format suffix patterns, URL patterns. Alright, so should be all we need here. Now let's go ahead and create the views that we need to make this thing work. So if you notice, we reference these this list as view, so it's going to be zip list. So let's go ahead and create that, and we're creating a class-based view. So we're going to say zip list, and this is going to import generics dot list create API view. Now let's go ahead and import that. So it's going to be from REST framework import generics. Okay, now we need to define the query set, which will be returned as JSON or whatever is requested when the URL is visited. So I'm sorry, I was going to say zip.objects.all, and then we need to assign our serializer class equals zip serializer. And then since we're using the zip serializer, we need to go ahead and import that. So we'll say from zip.serializers import zip serializer. And we're also using the zip object, so we need to say from zip.models import zip. And we probably don't even need to say models. We can just say models actually. Did we call that right? Yeah, zip serializers. Oh, I have an S. I don't want that. So that's a typo. Hopefully you guys see that. And get rid of the S on the zip serializer. Alright, and now we need to create the view for the detail if they query a specific zip. So it's going to be zip detail generics dot. I'm going to paste this here because I don't want to spell this wrong, but it says retrieve, update, destroy API view. So this handles all of the possible update, delete, etc., etc. And we'll say zip.objects.all, and then serializer class equals zip serializer again. Alright, now in my particular project, I need to go ahead and add URLs for the zip. So let me go ahead and pull that up. Alright, so just under the site admin URLs here, I'm going to go ahead and import, or not import, but reference the zip URL. So I'll say zip includes zip.urls. Now we're going to go ahead and update everything and hope everything works. So let's go ahead and try that now. So I'm going to go ahead and just run the make migrations. Oh wait, I say python manage.py make migrations, and I'll migrate this. I'm not sure what that error message is there. I'll have to investigate that. That's something unrelated, but everything should go well, hopefully. If it is, let's go ahead and take a look at the URL. So I'll say zip API. I'll do 1, and you'll see that this this layout will look like this. If it looks black and white like this, it's because you have to run collect static on your server, which I'll show you what to do. You just have to say python manage.py collect static, and just say yes, and it'll copy over the files that it needs to look pretty. And now it has the, so you have a default API working. So you see when I query, I'm getting different results back here in a nice little thing. If I wanted this result to be JSON, because we did that format suffix thing, I can say .json, and you can see it straight returning JSON data. So let's look at this. We'll do 385, 192. So that's actually pretty quick. I was actually, when I do the query from the database or from the admin, it's actually much slower, but it's also running in debug mode as well. You can see the JSON data is very quick. I get data back, exactly what I'm looking for: county, state, city, all that crap. And the way we had formatted this, because we did, remember we did city, gave its own serializer and stuff. So that, I mean, that's why we have these different objects, which is exactly what you want. So I think it's probably a good example for your first, because most of the time well, you might be dealing with foreign keys a lot, but maybe your database isn't as complicated and you just have static data and you don't have to worry about having multiple serializers for one particular serialization object. In this case, we needed to have 4 serializers to make all this work correctly. But it is working correctly, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the video off now. That's how you get up and running with Django REST Framework. And for more information, you can just do your gets, you can do your posts, your deletes, all that stuff from the admin panel here. Or you would look to use like a tool like Fiddler or something like that to play around with making HTTP post requests, sending the right data to add new zip codes, update, delete, or whatever you're trying to do to your model objects. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Have a good day. Bye.